I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now, what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
Oh, give me fucking truth, baby. Come on. Let's go.
How have I been successful in life?
Cheers to the new MMA year. I don't count last week, even though we're going to talk about last week's card for a little bit. It feels like the UFC year is starting. Thank you for joining us, folks. I apologize that it looks like I've got the mood lighting going on here, but
Not the
it's
grower
wavy
lighting.
Lines on the camera otherwise, and I know you folks need to see the moneymaker here. We are back for another week, another year of the MMA analysis. UFC 311 this weekend, and dare I say, a good card.
Banger.
We sacrificed 312 for 311.
Oh yeah, that one's looking. That's the Strickland.
Yeah.
DDP 2.
Yeah. I mean that one's got two good fights, so I mean we'll see. we'll see what that main event looks like, but. The co-main's good, and then we have a card after that.
It is funny
down
to me that I still see from time to time the whole, boxing, the corrupt shit sport that it is. Yet the UFC is going further and further to the boxing model to where you get a good fight or two, and the rest is just filler bullshit. And welcome. Fucking welcome to the show.
Luckily, we do not have to deal with that this particular weekend. So we'll get to that. We're not going to spend too much time bullshitting because nobody's here for that. We will talk about last week's actual first UFC card of the year. It was a warehouse fights thing, and it happened. And Mackenzie Dern did some pretty cool grappling, and I saw from like midway point of the second round to the end of the fight, and that was about it. And it seemed like all I really needed to see, although there were some cool knockouts apparently on the card as well. So that's good. That's fun. Sean, anything on the main event?
I mean, I cashed, so that was nice. Dern didn't turn this into a stupid kickboxing fight that she was going to lose. She was able to implement her grappling. Everybody's clowned on her for ages, how she can't get takedowns. She still can't really get takedowns. It helps when the old head and arm throw is mainstay in women's MMA. That just kind of works out for her. But yeah, man, she's good on the ground. That was some old school jiu-jitsu positioning and getting it done. It was just fun to watch. We don't get to see that too much anymore.
No. Wesley, anything to add to the main event discourse?
Yeah, I mean, Dern on the mat is like insane shit, man. Like Sean said, you don't get a lot of people, any male or female in this sport nowadays, who are like that great in jiu-jitsu, especially implementing it in MMA. Like there's a lot of good BJJ guys that try to cross over still, and they just can't implement that shit just because everybody's so good at defending jiu-jitsu and shit now. But man, she's like just insane, and yeah, still can't get takedowns really. Punches like Ronda Rousey still kind of. So, but I will say
it's not
Dern,
that bad.
It's not that it's getting better. Like I will like Perillo has worked on her boxing for a long time, and it's definitely better.
The defense is a tight race between those two though.
But I will say though, the difference in that is like, say what you will about Dern, she is tough as fucking nails. That chick will take a punch after punch and stay in a fight. Will never be able to. We've seen her beaten and battered and never quit in a fight, and that goes a long way she's tough. I don't know if she'll ever have a belt or anything, but she's one of those chicks that has a legitimate path to beat anybody in that division. So yeah, it was cool seeing the jits on display.
And like she'll probably eventually get a shot because they're
Gonna have to, yeah.
Contenders otherwise. The rest of the main cards, the old Ponzi boat. Another win. He's got to be like 40 at this point. Or is he one of those guys that's a little bit younger than you think he is?
He's a very weathered 38.
He's old. He's old. Yeah.
He's old and he's starting to show it.
Yeah. Busts up the Carlton in round 3. Cesar Almeida gets a knockout over Abdul Razak Al Hassan in the first round. And the copy pop, and apparently there was some controversy or something around this one. Very late stoppage over Chris Curtis. I'm sure you guys can explain to me why I should care about that. Christian Rodriguez, unanimous decision over something called Austin Bashi. And Puna, he's still around. And he beat Uros Medic in 30 seconds. Just first punch he landed. Cool. Sometimes it happens like that. Sean, any thoughts on the main card?
Pontoon Boat is washed even with that knockout. That chin is dusty. So once he steps up to something better than Carlston Harris, then he's probably going to be in trouble. I had Almeida in a parlay, and it was definitely clenched. I mean, he got cracked there pretty good, but then comes back with a early contender for knockout of the year. That was a pretty nasty one.
Folded.
Al Hassan he folded him, and Al Hassan was laying down for a long, long time.
Was it better than the one in the lacrosse game?
No.
Not even close.
That shit's blowing up, man. It was on Rogan today or something, and like Barstool. I think it's probably the most attention lacrosse has ever gotten.
Well, especially that league specifically, right?
Mag is about to flood the lacrosse leagues.
Yeah, look out. Romy Kopylov, always cheat. It's always worth it in MMA. Get your eye pokes and your dick kicks in because it's going to work for you one way or the other. He was going to win that anyway, but cheating helped.
Never hurts.
Bashi was a bit of a hyped up prospect, and Rodriguez has became the prospect kind of killer, the guy that's taken some O's. So he's a lot better than I expected. I don't know if West you cashed on him, but impressive. And then Soriano, he can pull those out every once in a while. Got big power.
Yeah, Pontoon. It ain't just his chin that's done. Did you see how he literally just couldn't get out of the way of punch? Like Carlton was swinging from like 5 feet away, and Pontoon just couldn't even react. Like he was just looking at him, getting punched from like literally would step in from way out, and Pontoon couldn't. That guy's but he's gonna get like knocked out badly by somebody.
Probably.
That Cesar Almeida knockout was absolutely insane, but that guy is a fucking fade like I've never seen. He was getting taken down by fucking Alisson, like legitimately getting taken down by that guy, getting clocked. He got hurt at one point. Like that guy's not very good. Fun as hell, but he's not very, very good. I don't think. Yeah, Kopylov always cheat. Horrible stoppage. Horrible stoppage. Like Curtis is hurt, but Kopylov literally turns around and walks away. Mark Smith standing there looking at him.
Yeah.
Mark Smith special right there.
He knows there's only a couple seconds left. Like Curtis isn't like so hurt that he's out of it, laid out flat or something. He's hurt, but he's like still there and shit. He was good thing that he was going to lose anyway, because if he would have been up on those scorecards at all, that would have been like egregious shit. Christian Rodriguez has killed a couple prospects, but I think they're giving him like the undefeated prospects that we know are not like very good at this point. And Puna, man,
all that matters is that number to people.
Yeah,
that'll get you good fade price.
That's what it's been with fucking Jay Leno Jr. and Bashi and this one, both of them. And Puna down at 170, man, that guy still cracks. Best part of the fight was afterwards when he does the you bust, but she keeps sucking like that. That shit.
So good.
That was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Wes was quick on that one.
That was good shit.
And then there was the rest of the card. A bunch of prelims. Felipe Buns beat Jose Johnson. Why do people keep thinking that Jose Johnson is going to be good?
Because he's tall.
Fair.
Sure. It's it. He's tall for the weight class. That's it.
That goes a long way.
Marco Tulio takes out the Ihor. This was probably was he a dog in this? Or is Ihor always a dog?
No, yeah. Tulio was like, I want to say it was like minus
fade.
300, minus 350 fade.
Yeah,
but
we'll be able to fade him down the road. Nice. I think, maybe. Thiago Moises. Did I die or did you guys die? Okay.
No, you're good.
Thiago Moises, unanimous decision over Trey Ogden. Shocking. Jacoby Smith, first round stoppage of Preston Parsons. Preston Parsons is still in the UFC? Why? Ernest goes to Gariakate. Split decision over Nicole Cagliari. I'm sure that there are a lot of strong opinions about that one. Bruno Lopez, unanimous decision over Gadzi Frodzov and Fatima Klein. Elbows from half guard? Like she was on top in half guard?
Smashing.
Smashed her.
Okay.
That shot Dudakova landed was on her
I haven't seen that since Tito in 2002, but whatever.
It is women's strawweight.
Over Victoria. That's not a man. That's not a lady. That's a Dudakova.
Yep.
And my breakout prospect of the year with what I'm sure was a fascinating unanimous decision over Joe Selecki. That was an absolute barn burner. Must watch, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, he won, but there's still a decent amount of questions on your breakout performer. That's for sure.
I've still got questions. I haven't seen him fight, so
yeah, that's fair. Don't have much else. I had Moises in that parlay with Almeida. I thought it'd be a little bit easier than that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too low on Trey Ogden, but he's also not very good.
Yeah, I ended up on Moises straight. He got down to like minus 155 or something. I just played him straight. It seemed like it's what Moises' problem's always been. He's way too patient early in fights, and he ends up getting down and loses decisions because he gives away first rounds. He did the same thing here, but when he actually that calf kick started adding up, he dropped Trey Ogden and then worked his ass over. Trey Ogden tore his bicep in the fight, looked ugly as hell. That was a beat down at the end. But man, Moises at that kind of line against Trey Ogden, that was just kind of funny to me. The Jacoby Smith kid, he might be the goods. We might be looking. I know it's Preston Parsons, but that kid came out and did the business. He did what he's supposed to do. All-American wrestler. Kid's hands are insane over at Factory X. You know, they're pumping out young fighters now. That dude might be real. 28 years old. Ready to see, his next couple fights. Fraud in this fucking Gadzoff guy. I played the over, but man, I almost hit Lopez. I should have. I knew that guy's such a fucking fade. Yeah, Dudakova, the best punch she landed, the best strike she landed in the entire fight was afterwards when she smacked her husband upside the head for some reason. I don't know what was going on there, but she was pissed. And then I don't know about Brad's guy. He's kind of boring either which way. So good card. I thought that was a fun card. It actually was a lot. I mean,
for fights that for the most part didn't matter, at least they were violent for the most part.
There you go. That's all you can ask for. That's all we want out of this sport. That'll do it for last week. Let's move on to UFC 311. And I've got a new metric for our breakout fighter picks, so they're not so subjective. If I haven't previously watched one of their fights, and then I watch one of their fights and they do well, breakout fighter.
That's a breakout.
Seems fair. Seems
Yeah.
fair. It's a high bar to reach.
Yeah.
A couple of these fights will reach it though. Not the very first fight on the card. I guess we should give like a little rundown of the card. You know, you've got the Russian against the kind of Russian, and then the co-main event, you've got the like almost Russian against the guy that's Russian, but doesn't know history, so doesn't think he's Russian, and thinks Ireland is bad at freedom for reasons. I don't get it. It's weird. Anyway, that's the top of the card. Very exciting. Actually, great fights though. Yuri, Jamal Hill. That's going to be fun. The whole main card. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But we're going to kick it off with not great stuff. Very boring Russian. Tagir Ulanbekov taking Clayton the Carpenter. Sean.
Yeah, I don't have too much here. Ulanbekov, I was pretty down on him after, that close fight with Nascimento and then loses to Tim Elliott. And then he came out and kind of smoked both the guys that he fought. And they're not too bad of wins. Nate Manass and Cody Durden for, what he is. He's got some wins in this weight class. Guys fighting has just fought absolute nobodies and terrible fighters in the UFC. He might be all right, but he hasn't been tested really much at all in the UFC. So I think this is a bit of a tough one. Ulanbekov the pick, but tough to lay minus 300 on these kind of fights in this division. That's super tough.
Just looking through his record, and Formiga retired like several years ago, right? And just beat him in a grappling match towards the end of last year.
The grappling is
anyway. Wes, what do you got here? Should his name be Clayton the Guida Carpenter?
I mean, Guida just got finally cut from the UFC. Maybe it's time to
there you go.
to switch that around a little bit.
Pass it along. Maybe he can like shave his hair and tape that on to this Clayton's head and just give the kid something to run with,
Have his brother give him slight concussions before he even steps into the cage before every fight.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you got to get into that flow state, Wes.
Flow state, looking CTE state.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of where Sean is on here. I like Ulanbekov sort of in this fight, but it's one of those fights down at this weight class where I feel like it's going 15 minutes. It could be close. Don't like Carpenter enough to really play him as a dog. I'm going to try to not play dogs that probably lose this year. Like I usually like to fire at those, and Faves have been hitting it. I mean, Faves been hitting at 70% like every year the past 3 years. It is tough to find good dogs now. So I'm going to stay away from just taking a small shot. I do lean Ulanbekov. I think he gets it done here. The overs I like the over 2.5. It might be a decent parlay piece. If you like Ulanbekov, probably safe to maybe take him by decision. That's sitting around like minus 125, 130. But just something I'm probably going to pass. I'll take Ulanbekov and watch this one and see what happens.
All I heard with what you were saying there is that dogs are due.
They've been due for
I've
3
been
years.
saying that for 3 years, bro.
They're due. I haven't been paying attention, so it doesn't count. Now I'm paying attention. Dogs are due. It worked for me last week. I'm ahead of both of you schmucks in Toutmaster, which is the only true metric.
I'm 18th, I think. Are you? Damn. I'm number one guy, like that dude's already got 18 points, bro. Like whoever that number one fucker is, like, holy shit.
That's the people that get one all right during the year usually don't get two. So I feel like that lead is going to disappear swiftly.
Yeah. He still got two wrong. He just hit The big dogs that came
dogs,
through on Saturday. He was on.
I went for the
all of them.
wrong big dog. I picked the big one last weekend when I should have picked it this weekend, as we'll get to. But I might also take a little Clayton Carpenter. I mean, I'm not going to bet him unless I just throw him into a round robin with a bunch of other bums. But he's definitely a Toutmaster pick, only because I don't like the Tagir. Like Tagine was in Morocco in December for like the whole month. Tagine, delicious. Lots of delicious food there. Highly recommend. The market in Marrakesh, you can get like anything. Had a bowl of snails. Delicious.
Interesting.
You seem like a guy that would eat snails, Sean. Come on.
I don't. That sounds. Can't you get like sick?
Sean won't even eat regular animals.
That's true.
He's not gonna eat fucking shelled fucking snails.
But can't you catch some weird shit if that's not prepared properly or something?
Snails?
I'm sure you can, but I'm sure that they're probably prepared properly at like one of the biggest markets in the world.
Yes,
so.
Of course. Yes.
A lot of any kind of like shelled seafood can fuck you up if it's not properly fucking cleaned and prepared. Yeah.
Well, and I think that at these places, maybe they don't use best practices, but it works
good
for
enough
all the
practices.
People.
Good enough.
It works
Good
for the
practices.
thousands of people at night. Anyway, we'll move on to the next fight. Bantamweight division, Ricky Tercios, Bernardo Sopage. Sure. Yeah. Sean, this is a fight.
This is the fight. It's a tough one because Ricky Tercios gets taken down by everybody, and Sopal can take people down. On the other side, Ricky Tercios alternates wins and losses in the UFC, and he lost last time, so he's probably going to win.
No.
He's not, but we'll see.
Just seeing that we've actually got some people talking to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Robbie was in there before we even got started. You should know that we never get started when we say we're going to. At least 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes
minimum. Yeah.
Ozzy, Steve, appreciating the beverage.
Oh,
thank you, sir. You know that you nailed it. And Luke is backing me on the snails.
Yeah, little proper a little snail etiquette going on in the chat too.
We have a worldly listenership, sirs. Much like your worldly learned host.
Who else has an Englishman and a fucking dude from Australia in their fucking show chat at the same time?
That's right. That is absolutely right.
It's special.
Wesley, who's winning this bantamweight fight here?
Ricky Tercios is fucking terrible. Like, I don't know how long I got to keep saying this. This guy's bad. We used to talk about guys with wasted movement. You want to talk about a dude with wasted fucking movement? This dude's jittering all over the fucking cage, doing a bunch of nothing, no power, can't stop a takedown, but always wants to be on his back on the mat. I think he's going to get smoked here. I like Sopa. I have him parlayed. I'm also looking at some Sopa inside the distance. The fight doesn't go as like plus 145. I think he stops Tercios in this fight. I think it's going to end up being on top and him getting some ground and pound off. So definitely like money line for a parlay. I will fade Tercios every chance I get. Minus 250 is a gift for fading Tercios.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm betting it because I don't care, but Tercios fights like one of those wacky inflatable arm dudes.
Yep.
It's just like all over the place and ends up losing more scrambles than like a mid 2000s British fighter and Cage Rage. Those dudes that never knew how to grapple, so they just rolled around on the ground a bunch. So yeah, I don't think that's a recipe for winning in the UFC in 2025, and it's probably a reason that this one's lined like it is. Another wide line in the bantamweight division, Rinya Nakamura. He's the wrestler dude, I think, if I recall, taking on Muin Gafarov. Kind of surprised that this one's this wide because I don't know. Maybe I just assume that Gafarov isn't as bad as he actually is because I know him. Like, I don't know him, but I've seen him fight. I don't know.
Yes.
Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nakamura is pretty hyped up. He was my breakout fighter, so I'm definitely picking him in this fight. But yeah, the number does see a bit wide. Gafurov is pretty decent, but I think Nakamura is going to get takedowns. Whether he does much with them, I guess we'll see. I'm just hoping that Nakamura is progressing a good amount and can put it on this guy.
Wesley.
Yeah, it is wild with Nakamura's like wrestling credentials and stuff that on the road to UFC, he was literally like deading guys over and over, just knocking them the fuck out. But I think the line is a little wide. It is like Gafarov is like not some total bum to where I think Nakamura should be this big of a favorite. I just think it's kind of based on his path here. He's gonna get takedowns. Like, can Gafarov like get up? It's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of takedowns here. Look, Gafarov lost to fucking John Castienda like last year. Like that is. He's got some bad losses since he got to the UFC. I like Nakamura here, but that line's just crazy. And I'm not sure if you could bet Nakamura a decision because he's got some finishes lately. Do you bet him inside? He'll probably wrestle for 15 minutes if you bet the dude inside. So this just feels like something you completely stay away from unless you like Gafarov, of course.
Yeah, no interest in betting this one, picking Nakamura. And we march 4th. Carl Rosa, Aylin Perez. Is she still doing like the twerking thing? Is that her thing? In the women's bantamweight division, Sean?
That is her claim to fame right now anyway. So, yeah, Carol Rosa has the same birthday as me, not the year, but the same date. So I will pick her. That is my hard-hitting analysis for this fight.
That is an incredible reason. You got a pretty good birthday. Like,
I used to have the old combo birthday New Year's parties. It was New Year's Eve parties. It was.
Oh wait, I was looking. Good. You said Aylin Perez has the same birthday as you?
No. Am I drunk? Or isn't December 30th? Carl Rosa.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at when our last fight is. I'm dumb. Anyway. Yeah. Never mind. You've got it. Yeah, that's one of the worst birthdays.
No, it's awesome. Because I would get like big gifts because I would get combo Christmas birthday gifts. So I would get way cooler, bigger shit. And then I would just have parties. I would have the New Year's Eve / birthday party. It was a good time.
And people
always have the time off and that sort of stuff. So, and that's good. I guess my wife's is the 28th, and she always complains about it because it's that's just between it's in the middle. Enough. So it can fuck things up, and like nobody's available for anything. So anyway, different strokes. Wesley.
Well, as a Louisville, Kentucky kid, my birthday is on Derby week every year. So I used to be like a walking drunken zombie for a week when I could handle that shit back in the day. But not much for me on this fight. Be a dog pick in Top Master. Both of these chicks are horrible. Perez plus 200 something. Probably got bigger Top Master. Can't bet it.
Yeah, that feels about right. And since we're sharing birthdays, mine's in late September. Not great, not bad. The worst part of it is first year university started 3-4 weeks before I turned legal drinking age. So of course, within those 3 and 4 weeks, you got to go hard. And just got written up and put on the old probation. Shit happens, anyways, don't care about this fight. Picking it, the dog and Tout Master, which I guess is Aylin Perez. Middleweight division. This should be interesting because this is always a wacky division. Zach Reese. He's one of those guys that got famous for beating a guy that was bad, right? He's one of those dudes.
Probably more famous for getting slam KO though, right?
That was awesome.
I mean,
Fair. Yeah.
Got Brundage just slammed his ass.
yeah.
Perhaps he will get slammed again as he is facing
Possible.
what I can only assume is a boring Russian. Azamat Bekov. Is he not boring? Is he Bekeov? Sean?
Been kind of boring, but
Yeah, I mean he's got some finishes. Now he had a pretty good string of decisions before he got his last finish.
his last one, but he dead it. Oh, fucking Chauncey Foxworth. Yeah,
that was a nasty one. Yeah, a bit interesting to see that Reese was supposed to fight Dumbass, and he was like a 2-1 favorite, and now
he's an underdog,
a plus 170 underdog to this debuting fighter. Yeah, it
Do you
seems
think
like
that's like an immediate fire your manager moment?
I mean, do they really have options?
They've got
Do they
another
wanna-
shitty option. Fire.
Well, I
Brady.
mean, at this
I'll
point,
take 'em.
if you don't take a short notice fight and you're Zach Reese, you might not be fighting for 6-8 months. That's pretty much how they do you at this point.
That's true. Very, very true.
They don't need to create space for the old Zach Reese, so he better show up. Yeah, I'll pick Bekov. Seems good, and Zach Reese is not very good.
Good way to pick fights. Wes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I want to see what some props are when they come out. The Bekoff guys already getting bet up a little bit, so want to look at some props. But Zachary, yeah, going from almost a 3-1 favorite, which I thought was dumb. Like even against Dumbass, I was probably gonna have to take a little shot on Dumbass, but he goes from being almost a 3-1 favorite to a fucking 2-1 dog. I think Bekoff probably gets him out of there. I see a 1.5 up, but the under is like plus 150, hoping that a 2.5 is not too juiced, and I will probably be looking at an under in this fight.
Yeah, just scrolling through the Bekolov's record, and I see a win over Chris Honeycutt. Lance would know Chris Honeycutt, former All-American wrestler. I thought he was a pretty good prospect for a while in MMA. Obviously, it didn't really work out towards the end of his career, but he started off pretty hot, like a decade or so ago. Anyway, that's a decent one. He's got a couple other names that I recognize on his roster. Of course, the big win over Chauncey Foxworth, Patriot star from the 90s. Incredible that dude's still around, but
got his old ESPN show too. I mean, who would have known?
Yeah, so we'll go with Bekoev in that one, but not betting it. Next one, I think I might be betting, fellas. Grant Dawson, who we know I love, fucking got him finally a little while back, taking on a guy that I actually like and has made me some money over the years. So this is a dangerous combination here. The old CDF, who is now just the DF.
I knew where Brad was going in this fight.
Of course.
Sean, what are we thinking?
I'm staying away. This should be a decent test for Grant Dawson. He's kind of just had these kind of weird fuck ups, like the Ricky Glenn fight, obviously, when he just was dead in the third round and ended up being a draw, and then goes on a run, beats some okay guys, and then steps up and gets smoked by Bobby Green. And then, of course, they give him a bunch of steps down, and he does what he can do against them. So CDF should test him pretty good, as we saw in CDF's last fight. Was able to kind of persevere after taking it a bit early. I do think Dawson's grappling is going to be enough to kind of stifle CDF. The good grapplers were able to do that, and Dawson, he doesn't have much. He does get hit when he's on the feet, but the grappling is pretty good. I don't think he's gonna to finish CDF, so it'll be a good test. But I think Dawson has good enough grappling to take CDF down and keep him down.
Wesley.
Yeah, that's where I just think the difference is going to be here as well as Grant Dawson's grappling. We got to remember CDF is like 40 at this point. Rebeski was putting it on him last time, and he just, man, that old man strength and fucking perseverance came out of CDF in that fight, and he just survived. I'm not sure he's going to get the opportunities on the feet to land shit on Dawson like that in this fight. Dawson's going to be looking for takedowns immediately. CDF has had a problem of getting controlled, getting taken to the mat. So there's definitely a path there for Dawson. Good test for him to see where he's at this point after running off a pretty good run outside of the Bobby Green KO, which was very nice for me and Brad, I believe. But I'm back on the Dawson train sort of in this fight anyway. And I like him. I think he gets a decision win over CDF.
There's no back on the Dawson train. Nobody was ever on the Dawson train to begin with. You finally hopped on. You're wrong. It's about to derail. All the guys that beat CDF, they are magnitudes better grapplers than Grant Dawson, that unathletic bum. And those guys generally, like if you look at takedown numbers and things like that, they've got all of the takedowns in those fights. They don't have an easy time grappling with him. Like Gregor Gillespie looked like he was about to die going back to his corner. And that's probably one of the toughest dudes to out grapple. And CDF just put the work on him for 5 minutes. We've seen what can happen to Grant Dawson late in fights in the past. And we've seen that redacted DF has that perseverance, that dog in him still, if you will. So I think it's not going to be easy for Dawson early. And if they're stuck on the feet, I think that CDF can kind of outdo him there. And I think it's going to get tougher for him as it goes in this one. So give me the old Brazilian. He's a young 39, very young 39, but number one in our hearts. Going to pull off another win for me here. Yeah, see, even the bookies know. Dawson round 3, only plus 1,000. Nothing, not worth it. Yeah, fun. Moving on. Light heavyweight division. Bogdan Guskov. I just want to remind everybody before we get into this one, the fucking orc from Lord of the Rings over here got subbed by the Ooze. What was that? 2 fights ago? 3 fights ago?
3.
Yeah, this is a dude climbing up the UFC cards. Starting to be favored in fights, pulled off some big wins over the likes of Zach Pauga and Ryan Spann. And now I get why he's favored here against, this guy's name is Billy Elicana, but I think this is a little Billy D. Williams Jr. This looks like Lando's son out here. Billy Elicana. Sean, who is this?
I was going to ask Wes if he has ever seen Billy Elicana fight, because like you, like Guskov, I mean, it's light heavyweights, so he can get some wins, he can get some knockouts, but he's still a very flawed fighter. I just have no clue who this Billy Elicana is, so I'm hard to back a guy, but hopefully, I kind of hope Guskov just smokes this dude and he gets matched up with somebody halfway decent. Maybe we can get a price going the other way.
Yeah, sometimes when a guy wins at this price, you can just plant the seed because, next time it's probably going to be even bigger because people will forget about the circumstances and all of that. Wes, thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Billy E fight on PFL a couple of times, but man, if you remember those fights, you're definitely a tape study guy. But him going to split decisions with some dude named Chuck Campbell and shit, just I don't know. I was looking at the under here. It's 1.5 though, little juiced. I think the old fucking Goose Golf is going to throw down here. It's going to be one way or the other. He's going to knock him out or like Brad was talking, get caught with something stupid, slip on a punch and get choked or some dumb shit. But can't bet Goose Golf at this kind of price. Who fucking knows about this guy? Maybe an under. Who knows? I'm going to pick Goose Golf and Toutmaster, but no way I'm betting that minus 300.
Okay, I got it. Billy E. Williams. Boom.
Hey,
Nailed it.
there we go.
So now I gotta pick him just because he's got a name. So we're going with Billy E. here. Next up on the prelims, the big lads. We're gonna take a trip down to the old penitentiary. Little conjugal with the jail man as he takes on Sergey Spivak. And I got to keep the bit going. I got to try to keep the bit going. But, man, the visits to the jailman's trailer are starting to come less and less, you know.
Conjugals are drying up, man.
Yep. It's hard times. Hard times in the pen. Sean, what do you got here?
I took the over 1.5 in Jailman's last fight. I really didn't think that he would just get Romanov out of there. I guess that just kind of says more about Romanov than the Jailman. Because as we've seen in most of his other fights, the Jailman he's very conservative. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. He protects himself. And yeah, he always wear protection. I don't know. Romanov just served it up, and I mean, he just had to
he's
take
so
it.
Bad. Yeah, he's so fucking bad.
Remember that guy was like minus 500 against guys and just absolutely washed out. Jailman, his wrestling is still phenomenal. I think he's going to be able to get down Spivak. Whether he's able to get him out of there, it's tough to rely on the gentlemanly Jailman to finish quickly. So I think you guys are looking at a nice total possibly on this one. I think I'm going to stay away, but I think Jailman eventually gets it done.
Wesley?
Yeah, I mean, the Jailman in this last fight, on top of him fighting just a fucking slobbish piece of fucking shit that rolled over. He was coming off a horrible loss to Curtis Blades, and you could tell that was a Jailman on a mission to remind the cell block that he takes the booties around there. Now we're back to him fighting a pretty much a top contender again in Spivak, and I think you could see a little bit more slow Jailman in this fight. He's gonna get his takedowns eventually. We saw Spivak get the arm bar off his back last time, but he got Tybura gets his takedowns too. That dude's a pretty good grinder and grappler. Trips to get guys down, but Spivak pulled off some shit. He's not doing that against Jailman, but maybe he's got some threats off his back and shit to slow this fight down when Jailman does get on top. So yeah, I like the over. Could it go up in flames real fast if Jailman's on one coming out of the hole for a couple weeks and got to assert dominance once again? Yeah, I mean it could happen. I think we hype Jailman up a little bit too much, and you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get from him from fight to fight.
He's good. He's going to beat great. Most heavyweights, because his wrestling is just that good, and heavyweights wrestling is that bad.
And I just think he's going to
fight somebody decent. We still don't know what he's going to do because he was taking down Curtis Blades and holding him down for the most part.
He's going to lead these guys in fights. Yeah, and he's going to
He's
leave.
going to leave him in fights.
He's going to leave guys in fights who are heavyweights and have finishing ability, to where, like, in other weight classes, dudes don't necessarily have the finishing ability when you give up a round or two. Will Spivak have that opportunity in this fight? He could. I'm probably going to pick Spivak and Toutmaster just because I think this is a very wide line against a dude that's got those outs in Spivak. I think Joe Man wins the fight more times than not? Absolutely, but it's a big line. I like the over 1.5 those a bit.
Yes, sir. I know that that our boy Dan Tom recently started watching Oz, so you could say that the Jailman's like the Saeed of Oz. He's definitely not the Adebisi. Maybe he's the like after that Blades fight, he was the Adebisi, but
he's more often than not the Saeed of the block. Yeah,
Saeed. It's I definitely like that total, because the one thing that I'm fairly confident about in this fight is that if the Jailman goes for takedowns early, he'll be able to get them. But like, he doesn't put guys away unless they're really, really bad grapplers. And definitely doesn't put guys away quickly unless they're really, really bad grapplers. And Romanov has like a little bit of Greco wrestling, but he's fucking schmuck on the ground. It's, he used a forearm choke in a UFC fight in 2022 or whatever that was when he beat De Lima.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Like real heavyweight shit. So I think Spivak survives the first, and then what happens? Luckily with Spivak, you don't have to worry about like an immediate knockout punch at the start of the second round, because he doesn't have that kind of power. But he could give the Jailman trouble later in this fight. Ultimately, I think Jailman probably wins the decision. I think it's another performance of his where we're not super thrilled by it. And I'm definitely gonna play the over 1.5. Might play the goes the distance as well. I think I like that better than the Jailman's decision price, just because it factors in Spivak pulling out the last two. I think there's plus 275 out there on Fight Goes. So I think that might be worth a little sprinkly as well. Moving on, bantamweight division again. Final prelim of the night. The undefeated Peyton Talbot taking on old Ronnie Barcelona. Sean?
Yeah, Talbot opened minus 900 favorite. He's actually got bet. The kid, I mean, it's hard to know. He's doing what he's supposed to, right? He's smoking the guys that are getting put in front of him. The guys that they're putting in front of him, not that good.
I would go as far to say very, very bad.
Yeah, you're probably more accurate than I am on that one. Our old friend Rowney, good career. He's getting up there. This is a small weight class. Like he's the vet. Maybe he turns back the clock. I don't think he looked amazing against Christian Quinones. Only fought once last year, or coming up. He's almost been out a full year. The age is Father Time is kind of undefeated. So if Talbot is kind of who they're trying to make him to be, I think he beats Rowney and probably gets him out of there. So I will side with the machine and I will take Peyton Talbot, but I don't fault people for tossing down a couple bucks to see.
Wesley, are you tossing down a couple bucks to see?
No, but this line is way too big. Like, I can't take Barcelona here, but this line is kind of crazy on a young prospect. I think Talbot gets it done. I think the kid could be the goods. I think this is a decent test. A guy that has been a pretty good fighter in his day that's old. We need gatekeepers like this, I think. it'll be a good test for Talbot. Line is crazy, no doubt. I do think he gets it done. I think Barcelos probably has a sort of vet performance in him, though, to where he could make it a decent fight and draw this out a little bit and stuff. So I'm looking at the over. The 1.5 is starting to come down a little bit more. It's -155 over at Bet Online right now. I'm hoping it comes down a little bit more to the -140 range or so, but I will be on that in some form or fashion. I do think that Barcelos can get this into the second round, maybe the third, but I think Talbot does eventually wear Barcelos out and gets a finish late in the fight. Maybe it goes 3. He gets a wide decision, but I like that over.
I'm doing it. Got to
do it.
Really, we haven't seen Talbot in a fight. Like, he's pretty much, he had the one against Nick Aguirre. I think that's how they pronounced his name, where he got taken down and controlled quite easily. And since then, he managed to get the knockout in the third round there. And he's lit up the last 2 guys that he's fought, which good for him. One of them was like a 12-year-old South African boy that they pulled off the streets.
Seaman, so bad.
And the other guy I've never heard of. So I guess, like, cool. And now he's a bigger price against Hony Barcelos than Umar was.
Guys, he's Ronda Rousey prime price right now. That's
like, it's just an insane price.
Yeah.
I've never seen a fight of Barcelos's, even as he's gotten old, and like, he's very clearly washed at this point. I've never seen him not put up a fight or not be in a fight. Like, he's always, he's always there. He's ready to scrap. He's ready to eat a couple shots. So Talbot's going to be in a fight. So I'm willing to throw $50 down, find out at +850. Like, come on. And it's not like Talbot's that age of prospect where he's going to continue to improve exponentially. Like, he's 26. He's 26. He's probably in his prime right now. I don't know exactly how much better that this guy is going to get. And maybe that's already very good. We, as I said, we haven't seen him in a fight yet. We don't know how he's going to react to that. But I think we're going to find out this weekend. Main card, middleweight division. Kevin Holland, not a middleweight, taking on Reinier de Ridder, who is
big
arguably a light heavyweight, isn't he?
Yeah, that's fought at light heavyweight.
Huh, interesting. You don't say. Sean, does weight matter in MMA?
We saw what happened the very last time Holland fight when that same thing happened.
Yeah. Size does matter, especially when your kryptonite is kind of your grappling, and the guy is a good grappler. Yeah, like I kind of understand people, weren't that impressed with de Ridder against Meerkat. That second round wasn't great. Good on him for getting him out of there in the third. I think that was the first or second time he's fought in North America. UFC debut. I think he's going to have a much better performance here. And a lot of this is just strictly matchup. Holland is not a middleweight, and Holland's grappling at middleweight, I think is very bad. It's I guess passable, at 170, but at 85, these guys are just way too big. So I really like de Ridder here. I think he's going to be able to out grapple and possibly take out Holland on the ground. So I took de Ridder at +100 for 2.5 units.
Wesley.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to add to that. At every point Sean said spot on. Pretty much I'm looking at this. Just its main thing to me is matchup, man. Like, this is just a horrible matchup for the Kevin Holland we've all watched for the past few years. Guy should be at 170. He's back up at 185. I get him one to take fights. Guy's active, knows that's how you got to make money in the UFC is taking a bunch of fights if you can get them. Props to him, but he's taking them at 170, 185. He's not a 185 or this dude, I believe, was a double champ and fucking won at 205 and 185 before he left. Yep. And beat a monster to win that fucking 205 belt. I like de Ridder here quite a bit with Sean. I also like de Ridder's sub is sitting at plus 330 out there. Like, that is crazy. Like, you have to take some plus 330 on that sub. Him inside the distance, there's some plus 240 out there. I'll probably throw a half unit on both of those and a couple units on his money line. I like him. I think this is one of the best spots on the card.
Yeah, pretty much everything that the guy said already. Like de Ridder, like sub. Holland is undersized at this weight. Even if he puts some weight on, he's still going to be undersized in this fight. A lot of de Ridder's takedowns come from the clinch. Holland invites the clinch. It's probably going to cause grappling sequences, and like, he can scramble a little bit, but he's not going to win prolonged grappling exchanges in this fight. He's just going to get himself put in bad positions and probably subbed. So, like de Ridder, like the sub, mostly like de Ridder. And he is going to be this week's consensus bet of the week. What price are we going with on this one?
Minus 110.
Yeah, that seems fair. Everyone can get that. Good for us. First consensus bet of the year. Actually, I should say we're undefeated on consensus bets in 2025. Big ups. So we're going to continue that trend this weekend. Next up, we are in the lightweight division. Benny Dariush, Renato Moicano. Weird fight between two dudes that are way more right wing than you think they're going to be. Sean.
Oh, that's good stuff. Isn't Moicano the libertarian? I don't know where that ends up on
it's the same thing
on the scale. I think this day and age, yeah, it's
the same thing.
But I'm passing on this fight. I can understand where people are coming from with the lines, people betting Dariush and the lines moving. Moicano on this last kind of string of wins, he's been out grappling guys and kind of beating him that way. I'm not sure if he can out grapple Beneil Dariush. When he went up against a decent grappler in RDA kind of took it to him. On the Dariush side, coming off two first round knockout losses, I know he's taken over a year off, which is good, but he's not getting any younger. He's kind of always had a sketchy chin, and Moicano might.
Are you describing Moicano or Dariush? Getting kind of older, got a sketchy chin.
These guys are very similar.
Yeah.
So I get the people chasing the dog. I think I'm gonna have to pick Moicano to maybe catch Dariush on the feet. That chin has, and as we've seen, has not been great ever, and it's definitely showed up lately.
Wesley.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the other way worse. Like, Moicano's 35. Moicano gets hurt by everybody now. That dude's been hurting like his past 3 or 4 fights every time he gets touched. Benny Dariush is getting knocked out by like clean fucking bombs, and he's dead.
And elite fighters too.
And elite. Yeah. And Moicano was getting hurt by like little, straight rights that he just ain't seeing and shit. So like it's definitely dog or pass. I'm getting close to just talking myself into a Benny bet because I like the year layoff. Moicano is like, he's taken some damage over the past year. Even in these wins, he's getting fucking hurt, beat up. Benny, I think, is going to be fresh. Year layoff, I like it. Dog money. Sean hit on the grappling. Like, Moicano ain't going to like get hurt and shoot a takedown and out grapple fucking Benny Dariush like he's been doing these dudes. I kind of like Dariush here as a dog.
I'm not going to try and overthink fights this year. The last year that I did that for an entire year paid off well. 11 career losses between these two fellas. 10 of them have been stoppages. And the 11th was when RDA had complete pity on Moicano and stopped hurting him.
Yeah, that was a sad one.
I think that fight doesn't go. I actually, the under 2.5 is better than fight doesn't go. Under 2.5 at -120. Like, it seems like somebody's probably going to get stopped in this one. Both guys can hit. If it turns into a grappling match, it's very possible that this goes the distance. But I think the in-between moments, they're both susceptible to getting stopped. Honestly, they're both susceptible to getting subbed as well. So I think there's a couple different outs there. But if I'm looking at anything here, I think I'm going to be looking at the under 2.5 and hoping for some violence. Next up, quite likely some violence. Light heavyweight division. Former champ Yuri Prohaska, also former champ Jamahal Hill. You're gonna come in, lock the door. What are we doing here, Sean? What do we like?
Man, I've never been a fan of Jamahal.
Nobody has.
He fought some scrubs, and then he had a good performance against Glover with the state of Glover at that point.
He was a coward who was unwilling to grapple with Glover like a gentleman, and then committed a bunch of elder abuse. So, horrible human being.
Yep. And then Pereira just smoked him. And now he's got all these excuses. This guy is, I think he's delusional, but I think he might be also playing it up. So people hate him, which is very easy to do. But he might also talk himself into a rematch somehow if he wins this one. Okay, I'll watch him get knocked out again. Either he's going to get knocked out here or he's going to get knocked out next time. So works for me. As for Yuri, the guy, he gets hit a lot. If Rakic had some power, I think he probably would have got him out of there. But he also throws fucking violent strikes, and Jamal can get hit, and Yuri's got power. Yuri has a chin.
Yeah.
At this point, maybe. It keeps deteriorating. I think it's going to stand up enough on Saturday, and then it might all fall apart. But I'm taking Yuri to dispose of Jamahal. Got 2 units on him at -102.
Wesley.
Yeah, I like Yuri in this fight as well, and it's kind of narrative-y, and like I think it's more about, to me, intangibles in this fight. Jamal Hill, skilled, probably the better striker, like pure striker. Yuri's like more unorthodox, so he's going to catch you with crazy shit, which is good sometimes. One dude like lives and dies this shit, like literally, like that's his fucking life. The other guy is cage side at every fight with 2-fisted beers. You know what I'm saying?
He's 2025 Rampage.
Like straight up, like in like Jamal Hill could probably be like very good. He probably should be down to like 185 and shit if he fucking cut his belly off and stuff. Like, so like it's like intangible shit to me. Like, but also like we watched Alex, Pereira literally like dead Jamal Hill. He did it Yuri, but look at the shit Pereira had to land on Yuri to get him out of there. Look at the little check left that he hit Jamal and like just did it, the fucking guy. I just think one dude's chin is still holding up because Yuri's going to get hit. Jamal Hill's going to hit him. I just think Yuri's chin is a little bit better than Hill's. I think Yuri's going to be prepared. And just the unorthodox striking, man. When you get hit with some of the shit Yuri can hit you with, you don't see it. I think that's something like that's gonna land on Jamal here, and Yuri's gonna get him out of there. So lean Yuri, nothing big here. But man, Jamal Hill's so fucking hateable. I think Sean's more right that this guy does this shit on purpose because he knows. But there's no faking being cage side at every fight with 2 fucking beers in your hand, not to mention the injury and shit the dude just had and stuff. So a lot of things working in Yuri's favor, I think.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I guess maybe people watching you get violently knocked out. Well, the first one wasn't so violent, even though he ended up in mount unconscious and was going to get his head pounded in if he didn't get stopped. But I guess watching you get knocked out twice makes more of an impact on people than just watching you get knocked out once. But having watched the Hill fight, I never felt like there was a second where that was going to go anything other than the way it did. Whereas the first fight that Pereira had with Yuri, I was like, oh, this is a fight. Like, this is some shit. Second one, not so much, obviously. But I just think Yuri's a significantly different fighter, more athletic fighter, better fighter. He's more well-rounded. He's actually willing to grapple if a fight calls for it. And I think if he does grapple here, he's got a massive advantage over Jamal. So yeah, everything to me pointing to Yuri. They're big dudes. Hill throws straight punches. He hits hard. He could connect with something. Who knows? But if this is an extended fight of any sort, I think it very much favors Yuri. So gonna have a little bet on him somewhere around even. Like if it gets down to even, I know it's higher than there right now, but not betting it on Wednesday. So we shall see.
He's plus 110 at this point now.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But Brad's not betting him on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I should probably grab my phone and bet it now, but we'll see. It's moving away from the way I think it should move. So maybe we'll wait a little while longer on that one. Yeah. Co-main event time. Man, UFC's, they're testing me. They're testing me on this card. You're going to put the Georgian snooze machine in the co-main event as a 5-round fight? Ooh, buddy. This Umar fella better be as good as everybody thinks they are, or else I'm not making it to the main event. Sean, the champion here, big dog. Big champ dog for old Marab. What do we think of that?
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. Just based on how dominant for the most part the snooze machine has been. But I think Umar is the real. He's the real deal. I think
this kid better be.
That's fair. He better be at that price, because I think some people are going to make a lot of money if he's not, because that is a big price. I do think this is going to be a close-ish fight. I just think that Umar is going to stuff these takedowns, and he's just going to land bigger shots on the feet. He's going to stuff them, and because Merab doesn't really land with any power, and really he's for the most part he's winning these fights just because of takedowns or just attempted takedowns. If he gets landed on a couple times, that's going to sway big rounds, because he puts out volume, but he doesn't put out much impact.
Will it, though? That's the question. What are the judges looking at? Will it matter? Say that does happen and Umar lands 1 or 2 pretty good significant strikes, but gets stalled for the entire round. How are they scoring that shit? I don't think he'll get
stalled though. Like, I mean, I get you. I don't think Merab's going to be able to just put him on the fence and hold him there. Like, I think they'll break him up. I think he'll try to get takedowns in space and not get them. And so that makes me think that there will be more opportunities to land those bigger shots. I bet Nurmagomedov. He's my pick to be the champ at the end of the year. So I bet him here with something that you would expect in the next fight.
Wesley, what do you got?
Yeah, so my whole thing is like how we're talking there in a fight that we think is going to be close, and you're hoping that judges are scoring a certain way that you want to. And one guy's minus 300, the other guy's plus 260. Man, look, Umar has fought one dude in the UFC. He's fought one dude, and he did what he needed to do. Easy guy for the matchup for him, though. I think we could all say that was one of the best guys he could match up against, to have that kind of name guy on his record. Easy takedowns, easy fucking control. The rest of his UFC fucking career so far has been against fucking pretty much bums. A gatekeeper that we were talking about earlier on the card, who he landed his one good punch he's ever landed in his fucking life in a fight. And look, I agree with Sean. This is going to be a very close fight. Merab is in very close fights. This is going to go 25 minutes. This is going to be judged by three. Who the fuck knows right now? But they all suck. We don't know what they're fucking going to judge that night, what they're going to judge in that fight round by round. We have no idea. And you're getting Merab at fucking plus 260. You know he's going to be in every round. You know his game plan. He's not going to tire. He's going to keep coming fucking forward. You better hope Umar can keep him off of him, can land his stuff, can work his offense, because that guy's going to be fucking all over him. Man, the line's crazy. The line's fucking crazy. Look, Umar might win this. He's good enough. I think he's very good. He could win a decision here. Absolutely. The line is fucking insane, man. Look at Merab's fucking lineup, his last 5-6 fights, who he's gone through, who he's fucking pretty much dominated to get to this point. And he's plus 260 against this guy who's fought almost nobody in the UFC. It's crazy. Look, Umar could win. I just don't think you could pass up a line on a fucking champ who's performed like this over the past however many performances at plus 260. I'll have a pretty sizable bet on Merab here. If Umar does it, he could be the real. I got to see it. I got to see it. Plus 260.
Yeah. At this price, definitely got to see it. Because, like, I thought we were done with this shit. We decided that a couple years ago that Merab broke MMA. He could do this to anybody, no matter how good they are. Like, literally the only dude he hasn't been able to take down is the GOAT. Wasn't able to take down Aldo. He's been able to just absolutely pile takedown attempts up against everybody, get takedowns against most people. Doesn't matter how good of a wrestler you are. He's just going to fight the fight at his pace. Like, he's not even a better he's not a better wrestler than Henry Cejudo, but he made Cejudo fight the fight.
He has cardio.
At his pace.
Yeah, he's got cardio.
What's Umar?
It's not even about
another
cardio.
question.
It's about doing things at a speed and at a level of repetition that guys aren't used to doing it at. And Umar is very good from what I've seen. He can strike well. He can grapple well. You're going to be able to strike against Corey Sandhagen because he's going to give you time and space to strike, because that's what he wants to do too. You're going to be able to grapple against Corey Sandhagen because he's a tall ginger that doesn't know how to wrestle or do anything on the ground. You're not going to be able to do that stuff against Merab because you're going to be defending takedowns the entire time. And maybe you land that one or two or big shots during the round and they sway your way. But you're going to have to make them real big, because as soon as that shot lands, he's going to be right back on you with another takedown attempt. So I'm going to go with Merab here. And hopefully I nod off as this one goes. I wake up to a little bit bigger balance in the old account come Sunday morning, because the main event, two bumps. Nobody cares about these dudes. Some guy named Islam Mac and Cheese and Armin Tsarukyan, Hammengarder. You know, this Armin Hammer, the baking soda
Armin
one.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you got here?
I think Armin is very good. I just think Mac and Cheese is elite. I don't know if he's all-time great at this point, but he's very fucking good. And he's just better at what Armin is good at. Gamrot was able to take Armin down. Mac and Cheese is a very, very good grappler. I know the last time they fought, short notice. I think it was a close but decisive fight. I just think that Mac and Cheese is just has the edges in kind of anything that Armin's going to throw back at him. Islam's striking is getting better. It was never great. It's probably still not amazing, but it's getting better. He seems like he's getting better when it comes to jiu-jitsu. I just think he's going to win. It's probably going to go to a decision, unless Armin gasses, which is possible. He wasn't looking amazing in the third round against Dubronx. If you've seen the Instagram, he's
on the gear,
absolutely fucking
Both
shredded.
of these dudes
They're
geared up to the nth degree.
Yeah,
pound for pound, this might be the all-time fucking geared up fucking matchup. Pound for pound.
This is the Tour de France of lightweight championship fights right here.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen.
That makes it nice and even. So I'm on Mac and Cheese. I got him in that parlay with Nurmagomedov, minus 155. Chalked it up 1.5 units.
Wesley.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Sean said here. Like, Mac and Cheese is like teetering on all-time great status. Like he is. Like we didn't like him for so long, but like his past run over the past couple of years, he's starting to be like a very action fighter and a fun fighter, finishing fights, man. Is like Sean said, his hands have gotten so much better. And I just think, man, what Armin wants to do, he just does a little bit better. Like Sean said, I think he's the slightly like bigger guy, stronger dude here too. And I mean, we saw Armin against Dubronx. Like Sean's right, he wasn't looking great. I mean, Dubronx even got a split there. Like I thought that was wild, but like it was
a 5-round fight.
Yeah, man. Like we've seen Mac and Cheese like get better as fights go on. Like he thrives in that kind of shit to where we don't know about Armin at this point there. So yeah, look, they're betting Armin like they know something, because Mac and Cheese that line's dropping, man. I guess you hold off a little longer at this point, but man, I think anywhere around minus 300, if this dips under minus 300, I think even at that kind of juice, you're getting a crazy price, like on a dude who's being talked about in some like all-time great status if he wins this fight. And like, I don't know, man, just I think he's slightly better everywhere. I like him quite a bit. I already got him sprinkled in some football shit from playoffs and all kinds of stuff. So I like Mac and Cheese quite a bit here.
That football stuff still happening? Huh. Cool.
We got one good playoff game. That's the NFL product. Millions of people watch that shit. One good game. That's it.
Hopefully this is the year for the Lions.
Man. Wish they weren't so banged up.
Yeah. It's part of the story, you know? Anyway, the script's been written. LA, the Fires, hearts go out to everybody affected. But obviously the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl again. Anyway. Oh, man. First of all, I have to push back a little bit on us not hating Islam.
Well, I'm going to speak for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily about him becoming an exciting fighter or being an exciting fighter. I think it's the fact that he's fought two of the greatest action fighters of all time and a featherweight twice.
Yeah, that's very true.
Some guys make you fight, and a couple of these guys brought the best out in Islam. What I think Arman Tsarukyan's going to bring out of Islam is the Adriana Martins. We're going to look at Arman. He's got some pop, got a little power. I think I saw a round one out there at 23-1. That wasn't even looking at specific, KO or sub. So I think he's a very talented fighter. Obviously, he's been in there before with Mac and Cheese. If you think about it, he's probably on better drugs now relative to the drugs that Mac and Cheese was on then. So there's been like more of a rise in Armin's drug game. So when you're going for that EPO belt, EPO, nobody calls it EPO. What am I doing with my life? You got to take stuff like this into account. So I'm going to throw a silly little dart on Arman round one because I think it is probably his most likely route to win this fight. If he doesn't do it early, I don't think it's going to happen for him. And I want it to happen. It's time. Let's get rid of the mac and cheese. The bowl got left out in the kitchen too long. It's a little moldy. I'm ready for something new. Boom. Nailed it. Yeah, that does it for UFC 311. I think gonna be a fun night. Gonna be some good fights. It's not even name guys that aren't exciting guys. It's a lot of guys that are gonna put on a show. We've got the cooler in the co-main event, obviously, but other than that, should be a good show. Thanks for joining us, Rob, Fred, everybody else in the chat that we already spoke to. Very much appreciate it. And Sean, we got anything else we need to talk about?
Nothing next week. The Saudi card, though, so that's actually a decent fight night card. So
yeah, decent fight.
On the week off, go watch lacrosse.